Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ignite Hub. Thank you to all our in-person guests here and online guests as well. This is great. We have a full house tonight. So thank you. This is super exciting. This is our fireside chat for October 2025, and we have a very exciting event for you guys tonight. As you know, we have a panel, and we're going to be talking about, we're going to be sharing with some Latinos or Hispanics that are in the field of cybersecurity. With that said, I would like to um, introduce myself. My name is Eduardo Novoa. I am the Technical and Training Development Coordinator here at the Ignite Hub, and I'm joined by my colleague, Anthony Fiora, our lab coordinator, who's behind the controls of the technology, making all this possible. And we have our director joining us via Zoom, Kimberly Brockring-Kahn. So I'll allow her to welcome you all. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Kimberly Blackpink-Gunn. I'm so sorry I can't be there in person today, but I'm glad we have the technology to be able for me to make welcoming remarks to all of you. I see some friends in the corner, so thanks for coming out and supporting. This is our October fireside chat. Latinos in cybersecurity, so important, such an important topic this evening, and of course in this fall semester. Representation matters, and we want to make sure that we are highlighting successful professionals in our community, particularly in cybersecurity, and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. So with that, I will introduce our guest speakers and our moderator, and then I will hand it back over to Eduardo. So first, I'd like to thank our guests, our panelists, again, Eric Berlado, who is the founder and chairman of Raíces Cyber, Lori Griasca Velasco, who is the Central Maryland chapter lead with Raíces Cyber, and Carlos Hernandez, product security consultant at Motorola Solutions. And our moderator this evening is Anthony Avalar, who is one of our great repeat guests and supporters of the Ignite Hub, also MC alumni, also TechMap graduate, and also a member of Raíces Cyber, who was part of the catalyst of bringing us together and helping us to organize this afternoon's event. So thank you to our panelists. Thank you to Anthony for moderating. We like to mix things up here at the Hub and have guest moderators. So thank you for that. And without further ado, I'm going to just turn it back over to Eduardo, who's going to tell us a little bit more about Raíces Cyber.
Yes, thank you so much, Kimberly. And yes, so we've been hearing about Raíces Cyber, and as you can see, we have the founder here. We have the local chapter. We have a lot of people from Raíces. So who's Raíces Cyber? For those of you who don't know who they are, Raíces Cyber is a workforce development organization whose mission is to empower underrepresented individuals to forge successful cybersecurity careers and ignite their potential through mentorship, educational programs, and career development resources. Raíces Cyber strives to build a more inclusive generation of cyber defenders and fuel economic mobility. The word raíces means roots or heritage in Spanish, but it's also a play on the word root, all capital, which has a special importance in the cybersecurity field, right? Raíces is an all-inclusive community powered by dozens of volunteers committed to closing the opportunity and salary gap for all. These volunteers are active in establishing and running Raíces Cyber professional, collegiate, and high school chapters across the United States of America, developing educational workshops that meet the current needs of the field, and coaching and mentoring new cyber offenders to further develop their careers. Raíces Cyber currently operates 26 national chapters in the United States and 7 international chapters. Please join me in welcoming our guest speakers and our moderator, and I'll hand it to them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eduardo. I really appreciate that. Well, shall we get started?
Let's go. Let's go right into it.
let's start. I'd like to ask for you to share your personal story. Please give us a brief bio. Tell us about who you are, where you grew up, and the things that you feel comfortable sharing about your upbringing, especially related to cyber. Begin.
All right, thank you everybody for being here, and thank you everybody for your continued support of Montgomery College. Thank you very much. A little known fact, I was a Montgomery County attendee in Germantown, campus, way back in the 80s, back in the day. So my name is Eric Blordo. I am the founder and chairman of Raíces Cyber. I have been in the field of cybersecurity now for about 35 years, going 36 years. Oh, goodness. Way before it was called cybersecurity. I founded Raíces because right after the lockdown, COVID, and all that good stuff, a few friends of mine came back from different conferences and said, listen, there were about a handful of Hispanic or Latinos in these conferences. And I said, well, in 35 years, it's par for the course. That's, we are a minority in the field. And I started looking. I reached out to some professors in San Diego State University and Temple University in Philadelphia. And I said, please do research. Is there an organization for Hispanics in cybersecurity? 2 weeks later, they came back to me and said, nothing, nothing. Right after that, ISC Squared came out with their diversity survey, and only 4% of the workers in cybersecurity are Hispanic or Latino. I said to myself, this field has given me so much. I'm going to start something. I started something that I thought, it's going to be here in Philadelphia. Well, guess what? In 4 years, since we founded in 2021, we have chapters in 30 states, not 26, 30 states, and we have 7 international chapters in London. I never thought that this would get all the way to London, Canada, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Panama, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. So it's quite the spread, right? I currently serve as one of the business unit security officers for Dell Technologies. So that's my day job. And I have 8 children. So very busy. All right. And with that, Carlos.
Thank you for the opportunity for being here with you guys. So my name is Carlos Hernandez. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Whoop, whoop.
Hold on. Me too, and Carolina. Okay.
So for my undergrad, I did electrical engineering. So I started my journey in the telecom world. So I worked for operator, Verizon, AT&T. And then from there, after say 7 years or so, being in this area, I was like, okay, I'm done with the commercial operators. I want to pursue something that, it's more closer to home, like a mission purpose. And being in this area, in the DC area, I said, I definitely need to find a federal government related job that I'm supporting their mission. So I found this opportunity with Motorola Solutions with the federal team. And I been there for 18 years this past July. I spent 17 of them servicing mostly the US federal government customers. So I have supported customers globally in every vertical. I have done business trips presentations in Europe, and it's been an amazing journey. My last arc over the last 7 years or so, I've been working mostly on well, actually, for the most part, technical sales, and we're going to talk about sales in a minute. But I've been doing mostly technical sales. The last bit I was mostly doing video solution sales. But then an opportunity came about for providing support and compliance stuff on cyber. And that helped me to pivot into my newer role. So I've been on product security consultant for about a year and 3 months, full time. But I've been basically, because I work with federal, I spent all that time working with everything that I had to sell had to be cyber or security approved. So it was already, in the blood, if you may.
Very adjacent to it.
Yes, very adjacent. So now I'm going to pass it over.
Yes, Lori.
Thank you.
Buenas, saludos. Hi, I am Loritza Grillasca. También soy boricua, Guaynabo City. I know all the jokes. Anywho, yo vine a Maryland. My story is very different from most. I started in cybersecurity through sales directly. I came to Maryland through Rena Center as a district manager. Found myself out of work. Went to Laureate University. They are an online university program, Bella Walden. And I was an international enrollment advisor for them. From there, I got picked up from Tenable, right, Nessus. They do Nessus, and I became a sales development rep for the Latin America market that they were starting. So there, I went from the Latin America sales development rep. I became a small business for the West, which covered California and the states in the West. During COVID, I held the seat warm for Canada, so I also work with the Canadian market. And then lastly, my territory was in the central states of United States, which was Kentucky, Alabama, West Virginia, Texas, and Kentucky, Alabama, West Virginia, and Arkansas. After Tenable, I found myself in an application security company. They do ADR. That's a new DR, by the way. You'll have some experience with all the DRs, detection and response. Yeah, the cybersecurity soup, alphabet soup. So I did sales development with them there. So in my case, what I bring to the story is about networking through conferences and networking. I found myself with Raices. Not only I'm working with them with the Central Maryland chapter, but I'm also helping them with youth programs, right? So long story short, even if you're not a truly technical person, if you're going into GRC, there's also paths that you can go into, like through sales. And yeah, that's.
And Lori, one of the things that while you were speaking, the truth that comes to mind is it's not what you know, it's also who you know, right? I have a very strong technician background, but I wasn't the most social in the beginning of my career, and it cost me. I'm learning the lesson right now. Really get out there, really put yourself out there, learn, talk to people, because that's ultimately what helps you get into the career. But that's a good segue into the next question. I really want to know from each of you what inspired you to pursue the career at the very beginning. And I also want to know, how your Hispanic Latino heritage influenced you, right? I'm sure there are things that have made you stand out in a room full of other people that don't look like us, and then we're looking for our fellow, like, other Hispanics, like, ¿dónde están? I certainly have felt it, especially coming from the military. But I'm interested to see what each of you had to say.
Well, for me, cybersecurity was thrust into me. um, I started my career before it was called cybersecurity. It was before they called it info security, before they called it information assurance. We were just the guys in the back room, right? I was working at one of the tech centers at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, and way back when MIT was, starting with the Model Railroad Club, and their job was, or their hobby was, to attack the nearest other university. And when I saw that they were doing that to our networks, we started defending against it. And it was all about reading logs. There was no firewalls. It was look at the logs, look at the stuff, and read it for every packet that was coming in. And then how do we stop that when we don't have technology? So that's when we started researching and putting things together. And then I continued my career from there. I joined the military as well. I was an Army military intelligence analyst, and was in Kosovo and Bosnia and all the garden spots. And then came out here and started my career as a Beltway bandit for 20 years. But throughout the whole thing, as I mentioned earlier, I was the one each. I was the one each of in every room. There was no other Hispanic, no other person that looked like me. So it became a How do I make myself better, and by that represent who I am and what brought me here? And that became my passion throughout my whole career. I had to learn not to be the center of attention first and tone it down because Puerto Ricans are loud. And yeah, and so tone it down and get there. But one of the things that you said about learning in public is something that I say in my book. It is very important that everybody that's here don't fear learning in public. You know, I have many friends who have gotten into this career field. Why? Simply because they had a blog that they were saying, I studied this, I learned this today. And in a couple of years, it could be a blog, it can be a YouTube channel, it could be, whatever it is, something that you write, a Substack. Okay. But learn in public because that's how you get recognized by these companies. That's how you get recognized by the next person that's going to say to you, hey, why don't you come work for me? And as a Puerto Rican, one of the things that just is part of why I do what I do is to represent all the Hispanics that are out there trying to get into this field. That is my passion, and I will continue to do so.
Yeah, thank you. The question again?
Little refresher. Yes, of course. The question is, what inspired you to pursue a career in cyber? And especially, how did your Hispanic Latino heritage influence your journey, especially in the beginning?
Okay, so what inspired me to pursue the career in cyber, at least being intentional about getting there, was I had the opportunity, as I mentioned, to um, be exposed to validation and testing on the Department of Defense
Yes.
with solutions. So that kind of gave me a taste of, okay, I like this. This is challenging. You have to, I guess, work with context. You have to look from the business side of it, from the technical side of it, and that's a skill. And I knew I thrive on it, and I'm like, this is it. This is my ticket in. Even though I'm not, I mean, at that point I wasn't like super technical, but I'm like, I can understand all the processes on how things come. Like, for example, I can see a Nessus scan or something, and I can actually translate that into, well, how do I put into a poem or a milestone program, right? How do I talk that into the business side, or the leader or the program manager, right? So making those connections, I was like, okay, that's the way, and that's how I'm gonna approach it. From the Hispanic perspective, I definitely had to say similar what Ardo mentioned here. No representation, and also that's how I even found out Raíces Cyber. Like, as I was going through that journey, I was like, okay, how is there a way to see more people like me on these spaces? So I did the research too, right? So for those of you that don't know, over the next 10 years, roles in security are going to increase about 20 to 30% over the next 10 years. And the fact that it's going to grow over 30%, but only 4% of us look like us, that's not acceptable. So I had to do something about it. I found them, I reached out to him, like, we connected, I found their Discord, we talk.
That was 2021.
Yeah, and then coincidentally, internally, I was actually, I guess, growing on the ranks on the ERG, the Employee Resource Group within my company. I ended up being the president for the ERG there, and we started doing collaborations across US. So I had funds from our events to support Raíces Cyber and also WISIS events in Texas, in Chicago, and I connected the dots, right? And then we found opportunities. So, for example, for some international stuff that he's doing, we're looking in the future to potentially collaborate because I have presence for outreach in Argentina, we have presence in Canada, all over the world. So that's just like how we started. So it was amazing to be able to connect that, and even by not knowing, because I literally rose through the ranks without expecting it, having that opportunity to give back and touch, people's futures, because I was able to give presentations to middle school girls about computer science and engineer and cyber roles in Argentina. I would never thought I will be doing that in my life. So that was an amazing opportunity. I look forward to do that more in the future with Raíces.
Yes, please.
Yes, I know. Question was, what inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity? And particularly, how did your Hispanic/Latino heritage influence your journey to the field?
Okay, I think I'm again the oddball here. Money, because I landed in sales. I mean, it can be, I guess that's as succinct as I can be about it. How did my Puerto Rican upbringing brought me to here? Well, I got exposed to sales by being a carny back in Puerto Rico, translating for La Ciudad Mecánica. So that's where I started working my soft skills. But no, seriously, when I was young, I was interested in it wasn't cybersecurity then, it didn't, the term it didn't existed. Yo tengo 46, todavía estaban, they were still, you were still learning COBOL and Pascal. Uh, I know. Nobody has to guess. I already gave it. But yeah, I mean, over in COVID, they were looking for people that, yeah, and the Department of Labor was actually looking for people that needed COBOL because some of this infrastructure is so outdated that is put together with duct tape. And unless, so what am I still here, right? In my case, that I'm not a technical person, right? I like putting the people, process, and technology together. I like connecting the right people with the right processes and the right technology. Being in the sales seat, you get to another perspective when you're talking to CISOs and leadership. Because what you're trying to understand is the budgets not well, obviously the budgets, but what they're trying to cover, what gaps do they have? But they also need that to translate that to the business. And usually that language is not the same. Traditionally, if you're an IT person or a cybersecurity person, you've been led to believe that you can kind of hand back and sit behind your computer and, do your job, which is not true. Now you're gonna hear terms. Now you're gonna hear terms about expanding your circle of influence. And what that means is that you might need to learn how to talk at some point with your CEO language. One of the books that I'm reading right now is Speaking Cybersecurity with a Business Accent, because that's just where we are, right? And how my Hispanic heritage brought me here, aside right from representation, I am so happy that I get to speak my language ever so often, right? And working with Raices and the youth groups, I was able to facilitate boot camps from here and helping the kids like in Caguas on the, learn cybersecurity. And I'm from here and I'm talking to the kids in Caguas. So I never thought I would be a facilitator. Ah, there you go, pues Guaynabo al lado. And end up with people like these, right? The amazing people that are donating their time. So yeah, that's basic. I hope that answers that question.
And I love during your response, like I felt personally called out. Like I am definitely one of those that started off, got into the field, was like, I'm good with machines. I'm not good with people. I'm just gonna hang out in the back. It really cost me an initial part of my career, and I wish to my younger self, like, no, think differently, right? Learn from my mistake, please. But we can go on to the next question. The next question is, I'd like for you to share a pivotal moment or experience that really significantly shaped your career path. That crystallized whether you were going to continue on or perhaps change to something else. And if you can, give us a valuable lesson that you learned from it, particularly something that can be actionable for the people listening in. So, Eric, will you start?
There have been so many pivotal moments in my life. I'm going to give you a techie one first, and then I'll give you a different one, more of business one. Techie one was a few years ago. We had a major attack in the midst. Maybe you remember the different attacks that happened in the, was it 2014s, with the different bugs that happened. And I was called into DC And I spent the day going from agency to agency because our team was one of the first ones to detect these particular bugs. And every agency needed to hear what we already knew. And we went from agency to agency. I remember working for probably about 48 hours straight and doing emergency services with all the different agencies. That led to a newfound passion for the blue side of cybersecurity, that defense, that identification of vulnerabilities when there's nothing. Who do you? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Who are you going to call? Okay, call Eric. No. So that was after that happened. Got a bunch of awards from a bunch of places, and I sat back down after I slept, and I said, you know what? This is why I do what I do. And that solidified my path to say, by this time I had been in for about 15 years, but that that just solidified it. That's where I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Or like they say, when I grew up,
The right place.
I knew that I was in the right place. And the second one was, I remember when we founded Raices, and one day we had a conference in 2022 in Philadelphia. And I remember seeing about 300 people sitting in that auditorium, our first conference, and hearing from the National Cyber Director, hearing from NSA representatives, hearing from Cyber Command admirals saying this is needed. And I sat there and I suddenly realized that's the path for us. We have to keep on growing Raíces Cyber.
So from my perspective, because I supported U.S. federal markets for so long, I had seen kind of the writing on the wall, and I knew the future was security. But obviously, since probably I want to say around COVID or so, that's when it kind of exploded into okay, now the world knows about it too. So many agencies are getting like ransomware and things impacted. So actual lives are being impacted, right? So I was like, I cannot stay in this silo. I need to actually help and share what I know to help our teams. Like for example, within my employer, we have over 140 or 150 products teams, and I have people that are seasoned in security, and I have a lot of greenfield product managers, product owners, and developers. So we need to like raise the bar across the world. And I mean, we're talking at least 4,000 people strong. So that's like, big. Yeah, it's a big number to kind of raise the bar across the globe from that perspective. The key point for me was just before obviously I transitioned to the role, after having that journey of a career, having that ownership when we were working through that certification process, and going from designing a system to actually owning the security and maintaining, that's crucial, right? Because you need to make sure that you meet the threshold, but you also need to secure it above and beyond what the check mark is. And that also takes time, and takes and then you need to translate that to the non-technical people, the product people, the product managers, developers, and things like that, so that we're all rowing in the same direction. And obviously, for those of you that may look into the Department of Defense, there's a thing called sticks, which is basically the security controls. Every 3 months, things change, and they're published every 3 months, and sometimes even monthly. And they're automated tools to look into that. But the point is that it's not it's a snapshot in time. It's not a constant. It's always evolving. So seeing that, and also seeing the explosion of AI and cloud, I'm like, okay, I want to ride that wave. So I want to be in security, AI, and cloud, and I want to ride it for the next 10 years until I retire. So that's kind of how I end up.
That'll give you plenty of change to adapt to.
Yeah, well, for me, my catalyst of my experience was actually my last working at Terrible. actually. So I was working with a children's hospital at Tennessee. Um, when you're in sales, not everything's peachy. This is me getting this contract at 11 o'clock at night. The MSP sold the tool in the wrong code and something, so it was a fire drill. And also, they were going through a ransom attack. This was the East Tennessee Children's Hospital. And the CISO was retiring. And their email accounts were all blocked off. So we needed to send this key to the product so they can start the recovery. But the emails were locked, so we had to. I provided the idea of doing a video call actually, and then took that to legal. So you gotta think of on your feet too. How we're gonna resolve the issue? How we're gonna remove obstacles, right? So that happened. The deal pulled through, and we started. That's Nessus. That's blue teaming. That's vulnerability and exposure management. That's what they do. So that was my catalyst. Like this organization had to cancel operations, had to like it just so much happened that I went like, oh, at least their motto is Tenable's motto is what we do matters. And I think that's something that I have been able to carry even outside of Tenable because cybersecurity matters. Even if you work in a company, you're bringing your laptop from that business into your network. Your family is downloading stuff. You know, it's really an all hands in kind of industry, right? And I like that. And then I got mad at the businesses too because obviously I'm a salesperson, but we're telling you stuff that you need to know. Like you got these gaps, and for some reason the business doesn't want to invest until you get a hack or a ransomware. And then all of a sudden you see open to work CISOs on LinkedIn. And in the back of my head, I'm going like, why are we still talking about breaking silos? Why are we talking about talking to the business? Why are we still talking about the investment when everybody knows the problem? And pitching again, I think like working with Raices actually helps me. Well, if I can't get through to the C level because they're already like, they got their own thing, maybe I can help build the workforce that will talk to the C level in their language. So yeah, I think that was like the transition from that moment where you actually see it. Yeah. And then you see movies like what was it? The Ethan Hawke movie with Julia Roberts, Leave the World Behind. If you haven't seen it and you're a cybersecurity professional, that is my horror movie right there. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I really am glad that you're here because I wish I had known someone like you when I just started out because completely behind a desk, terrified to talk. A lot of the problems that I've seen in working as a technician is just like if we could just get the different teams to talk to each other, a lot of this stuff would be sorted out. Like, is this a suspicious IP address in the log? Is this normal? But because well, not every team, but a lot of them are siloed, right? No one's talking to each other for whatever the reason is. But, oh, when when it's friendly or antagonistic. But yes, let's segue into the next question, right? As successful professionals in cybersecurity, what advice do you have for individuals who are just starting out, who are aspiring to pursue careers in the field, right? This is your opportunity to give them advice, right?
You want advice? Okay. Run. Okay. Now, one of the things that I tell everybody as they starting and as they're continuing to grow in their careers is you can read all you want, you can do classes all you want, put that experiential learning in plan. Okay? Get yourself a home lab. It could be an old laptop. It could be something that you have laying around, an old phone. Whatever you're learning, put into practice. Experiential learning is what's going to get you that job. Okay? Is what's going to continue. Sometimes we read something in a book and we're like sitting there, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. until we actually do it. And guess what? It's like a game. You get that dopamine hit and say, I want more. I want to learn more about this. Find your passion. I I'm sorry, I'm gonna go to the negative side of the house. I hate when people say, I want to go into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a career field, not a job. There are 50 plus trades in the field of cybersecurity. Find the one that you have the most passion for. We've heard it, sales, training, okay? You do not have to be a techie to be in cybersecurity, okay? We need to be able to tell people that, hey, yes, a degree in cybersecurity will give you the generalistic view of this. But once you get out in the field, you're going to have to specialize. Just like in healthcare, we've got doctors, nurses, EMTs, office managers, all these different jobs. We have the same thing in cybersecurity. But with all these jobs, learn that skill, know that in cybersecurity, it's bound to change. So what happens is you come in as a blue teamer. You come in as a security engineer. 2 years later, you're a vulnerability management person. 2 years later, you're in certification and accreditation. 2 years later, you're in product application security. And before you know it, you've gotten a big swath of things, and you'll find that passion. You're going to continue down that road. You're going to specialize in that. You're going to get your 10,000 hours to make yourself a master in that. Okay. So experiment, learn, practice, and don't be afraid to take a job, because that job's going to lead to another job that needs to another job. Okay.
So we do find ways when you have one. Exactly. So I'm gonna follow his lead, and I'm gonna, I guess, do a peeling the onion a little bit more as well, right? So I actually had to write it down because they were very important to share it the right way. So for me, as Eric mentioned, in terms of, yeah, find your passion, but find also what you enjoy and where you're at. So if you're non-technical, as he mentioned, there are ways and opportunities to look into. Write this down: GRC, governance, risk and compliance, and also privacy. Those areas will be there forever. Privacy is exploding. There's a lot of growth and opportunity in privacy. You don't need to be technical at all, but you need to understand the concepts. Look into that, do your research. If you're technical, yes, by all means do the lab, but if you don't get, connecting boxes and stuff like that, and the LEDs doesn't talk to you, that's fine. Doesn't have to speak to everyone, right? So make sure that you connect with something that you like, because if you're doing something that you're not enjoying, people can see through that too. I will see it as a recruiter when I'm recruiting, right? But people that are passionate, you can actually tell. For example, be out there, right? Like going to events, going to career fairs, opportunities to network, things like that. One kid that blew my mind in a recruiting event, he actually came to a recruiting event with a college project. And he actually went through the booths, fixing that use case and connecting the dots. That was amazing. I connected him with the Navy. I connected him with the Secret Service. Department of State was helping too. Like we all collaborated. It was amazing. But be like that guy. I mean, again, you don't have to be different, but just think it through. Like you can get something out of it too as well. It doesn't have to be just like, oh, they're picking up resumes. So like, those are amazing assets that are available to you. Make the most of it. Um, One area I also recommend, and this is a personal area that I'm exploring, in addition to Rise of Cyber, explore professional organizations as well. One of the things that was a key differentiator for me starting my career was that even though I was a student and basically our transcripts read the same, I was actually reading materials from the industry, and then I understood the terms and the concepts. So when you talk through, you can actually, articulate, I understand what the needs of that industry is, even though I am not in there. I just know it, right? There's a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of really good content out there by professionals, and they do it often. I definitely recommend you to check that as well. A lot of them are free resources. Um, sorry, I'm going to my desk. I'm trying to finish it. Um, yes. Oh, embrace continuous learning. Embracing continuous learning. Find how you learn and what best connects with you. I have to tell you myself, I'm studying for a certification right now, and I cannot finish the book. I have I absorb better audio and video, and that content I process information and I dissect it and I do mind maps and everything. But for me, reading a whole book on a particular topic is really dry, to do. So find what works for you and leverage that. If you're a reader, then by all means do it. So yeah, and at the last one, this is a shameless plug, but it helped me a lot. There's a training course called Irresistible, landing your dream job. You can find it in Udemy and other platforms. 15, 20 bucks. Best 20 bucks I spent in my life. They dissect the whole thing from end to end, similar to his book. He has an amazing book also. Google him, Eric Belardo. Cyber, how to start your career. Amazing resources for people that are starting. So thanks for the plug.
Um, Advice from me. You guys kind of cover all that, and I've been the oppo, so I don't know. Picking back from that, I would say in sales they have this mantra say always be closing. I would say trade it to if you've seen that movie. Always be curious.
Yes.
Um, thank you. Always be curious because, as they said, one thing is going to change the next day. And you have to think on your feet all the time. If you're not training your brain, why would I come up with, okay, here's a video. Hi, can we do it that way? If you're not training your brain always and exercising, it's gonna be harder for you to like pick it up. I'm losing my words here in that sense, but you know what I mean. Don't be so it's easier to be reactive when you have muscle memory. That's what I wanted to say. That goes to the lab, that goes to training and certs. And like he said, find the way that you learn. I am a reader. I'm trying to get through the Google Cybersecurity certificate, not because I want to be a tech person, but again, I'm speaking to the business. So I want to speak their language. And that I think that's the best advice that I can give you from my end, is learn the language of the business or the industry that you want to work with. Because if for example you're following the NIST frameworks, it's not just one. There's several of them, and they apply in different ways to the different industries, right? So when somebody says NIST, kind of in the same thing as cybersecurity. So what frameworks are you working with? NIST.
They're next door.
Yeah. Is it 3 rate? Is it like the software? Where which one? So yeah, so be eloquent in the language that you're speaking to, who you're speaking with, and be selfish in the way you learn. Yeah.
Let me add something here. My father once told me a phrase, I only know that I know nothing. Okay? The field is so broad. You are not expected to know everything in the field. You will learn. I always say I've forgotten more about cybersecurity than I've ever learned. But you have to learn. You don't get scared when you see the mountain. Take the first step. Do that first step. That first step is the hardest one to achieve.
Enjoy the mountain.
And then next, and enjoy the view.
Yep.
Okay? Because it is a wonderful career.
Yep.
That was wonderful. And Lori, to your point about curiosity, I would even add share your blooper reel, right? I know that most of the time I share something online or with other people, it's the mistakes that I made, like, oops, don't do it that way. That one, it gets a laugh out of people, which is the wonderful thing. I like entertaining them. But you always help those that are one or two steps behind you, right? Those are the ones that are watching the closest. Those are the ones who can have the most impact.
If you've been in the field for 6 months, there's somebody behind you that have been there only 3 months. Reach back, help, teach one. Okay, teach them all. Okay.
I would say one more thing. Find the gap we were talking about, and that just came up. We were talking about find your space. Find the gap. Like, if I'm looking for something and that I want to learn and it's not there, research it and put it up yourself. Documentations package, right? So yeah, find the gap.
Yeah, to emphasize that point, there's plenty of documentation, things to learn, and it's all written in English. And Lori and I were talking right before this event. Well, I noticed that there isn't a lot of documentation in Spanish. There's a potential problem to solve, right? You know, start translating things over into Spanish, right? Anyways, let's go on to our next question. Could you discuss the importance of mentorship and networking in your own journeys? And if possible, offer some insight on how these young professionals can, leverage finding a mentor or, take advantage of networking, because, it's hard, especially as an introvert. Like, I know I go to these events, I don't even know what to begin when I go to one. So I'd like to see what each of you have to say on that.
Well, like I said before, learn in public. There's different ways about putting yourself out there that even introverts can do, right? You can write, like I said, you can write a blog. Blogs are not dead. Okay. Write a blog. Keep that blog for yourself. Okay. It becomes your FAQ for your life. You can look at that journal, at that blog. Okay. Finding a mentor, or if you are an introvert, find a group. Find a group of people that are like-minded. Okay. It can be done. We have a wonderful Discord community where the introverts go and talk, right? It's faceless, nobody's on screen. They go in there, they talk, they get their answers, okay? And you find that community. Hispanics, we always learn about community. Our families are our first mentors. Our friends are our first mentors. Our group is our mentor. Find that group to mentor in cybersecurity. They're out there, okay? I won't say that every single group is welcoming. Look at Reddit, okay? But you've got other groups like ours in our Discord where you go in there and there are people there. Find that person that's a little bit ahead of you, or a lot ahead of you, that can give you the good motivation. It's not about what they impart and what they've learned. It's about how do they motivate you for you to go and get your career started and your career moving. And it doesn't matter if you are a entry level, mid level, or an old fogey like me. I still have mentors that help me every day. Okay, so those are hard to find. But if you get into a community like ours, just ask. Just ask our community. We'll find you a mentor. Okay, but that's very important that you have somebody that's marched in those steps, that has been ahead of you a little bit, and listen to them. Don't be hard-headed. Okay, listen to them. They've been there. They've hit their head against the same wall that you're going to hit your head on. Go ahead, take the leap.
So again, building on what Eric was sharing here, the organizations are key, networking community are key. Find which one you can connect with, that kind of like, for example, Raices or the professional organizations that I mentioned as well. In the professional organizations, even if you don't have experience, you have time. Volunteer. That's a great way to meet people, to connect. They don't even need to know your background. It's like you just showed up and you have a common goal together. By volunteering, you can meet your future employer. You don't know. And they know people. They have networks, right? The fact that you're willing and able to spend the time, give a little extra, giving back to community, like make sure that you volunteer something that also connects with you, right? Like if it's giving to your community whichever way you want to impact the world, make it happen, right? If the organization is doing it, just like she said, find a gap. Oh, you guys don't have any underrepresented opportunities? Talk to Raices. Let's help you out, right? Let's help your organizations, nonprofits or corporations do that work as well, right? There are ways to connect each other. So we can, one, make a better world, and also you can reach out and meet people. So there's nothing wrong in that. The other one I would mention, I would say, definitely reach out, even if you're not actively pursuing the job. So let me take it apart. So obviously there's a number of students here, but let's say in my case, I actually had a job, but I once I knew that I wanted to pursue cyber, I spoke with my manager and we came up with a plan. It's like, okay, these are the tasks you're gonna do, but then you do yourself what you want to do. In my case, I took this 2-year journey and I basically reached out to teams that I was interested to either know what they did, understand what they did, how they did it, and how I can help them or how I can connect other teams. So I want to be part of the ecosystem. I need to understand it first, right? So I reach out to the architects, and I remember because I was talking with Eric about it. It's like, I think I'm going to be an architect. Maybe that's the role for me and whatever. Like, then I found out what they do. It's like, oh no, this is too technical for me. This is probably too in the weeds. But the point is that it helped me to connect with other teams that I never thought about, right? So I reach out to multiple people, and as you get information similar to what he was talking earlier, the learning in public. In my case, I didn't post a blog, but I created a Google slide for like 20, 15 pages or more of resources that people were sharing with me. This is what, so I will reach out to teams. I'll say, okay, what is your training plan? Like if I come here the first 6 months, can you share what you guys train your folks so I can ramp up and start training on that, right? Because I want to be proactive. So all these resources that I kept getting from different tools and teams within the organization, I share with other teams. And they're like, oh my God, this is amazing content. Thank you so much. And then they told other people, and they're like, oh, Carlos, he's looking at stuff, but check out his resources. So it became like a community on its own. And right now I have like, I don't know, like 20 plus people that I even have executive VPs reaching out. Hey, someone told me about your file and I want to check it out because there's something on process that we're looking into. And by then, by the first after the first year and a half, I was hearing about opportunities before they were even posted. They were like, oh, by the way, there's this architect is leaving and you may want to check and talk with so and so, and he likes to mentor architects. And I reached out to the guy and he mentored me for like 3 months or so. And then from then he connected, oh, talk to the privacy folks, I think they're looking at an opportunity, there's a gap there. And it was amazing. But the point is that find what you're missing, right? So try to connect the dots, explore, have conversations. Like, I mean, I was telling them, I'm not looking for the job yet, but I want to understand what you do, because if I be part of the team, I want to understand how I can contribute, right? How I can bring something else that you guys don't have. So put yourself out there, I guess.
So for mentorship, when I was at, I've been a person that I've never had a 5-year plan. I've never been able to structure myself or follow through in that sense, especially because life happens, and then it's my personal way of coping in the sense, well, this doesn't happen, that was my goal, I didn't want it anyway. So when I say mentorship and always be curious, I kind of also go to that line in line, because you have to be interested in mentorship, otherwise you're wasting that person's time. So find the right mentor, right? You can also, like, Discord, LinkedIn. There's so many people wanting to. There's so many people out there with blogs, right? There's so many free resources. We have a whole bunch in the website, like courses and kind of like freebies. Like, for example, Tenable, you can download an SS scanner and scan 10 IPs. So a lot of companies have that, start playing with the tools. And when you start having conversations like on Discord and these platforms, somebody will pop up and say, hey, I'm kind of working around the same thing that you are. You want to partner up? And then you start teaming up, and then that grows, right? And sometimes a mentor finds you because of that, because you're making a splash. In my case, in Tenable, somebody says, hey, you want to go to the West? You want to be like the small business? Well, I kind of wanted to work with Latin, but that's there. So yes, I that's how I progressed. Somebody when I think you'll be good for that, and I went like, I never thought about it, but be open, be open to tumble, not only be in the weeds, but be a tumbleweed, in the sense of kind of like cruising around the different departments. We were talking about development and the SOC. So in my last company, I was in an application detection and response company, and that was the running joke in every single conference. And my hook was, yeah, there's even a book about it. Doesn't anybody know the Phoenix Project? He's laughing. And it's called The Adventures in, like, yeah, it's about a developer that walks in and it's her first day and all the red tape and her getting the infrastructure and, the changes and everything. So anywho, long story short, again, it goes by language and disponibility. No, that's not what I want to say. Wanting to be able to open, you being available to open yourself to those conversations, like anything else, I guess is what I wanted to say, right? And yeah, probably the mentor will find you because they'll be interested in you if you sold it.
Well, I believe that we've reached the end of our questions. Eduardo, would we like to take questions from the audience?
So thank you again. Thank you so much, Anthony, and everybody here. Just want to thank you so much for, yes, thank you, Anthony. Great job today. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of Anthony. I met Anthony a few years back when I was working at the cybersecurity lab, and he's not only been a great student, but he's been a person that really takes the advice and looks for the advice of people that has gone before him. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for providing advice to everybody here. Thank you for explaining how broad the field is and that you don't need to be, I mean, it's okay to be a techie, but you can be in sales. When I was in cyber, I was doing compliance. That's what I did, which is a big part too. So there's a ton of things, like you said, Eric, and then and so much to learn. So if you like to learn, this is it. The other thing that I want to say is like, this was not by design, but it ended up that all or three of panelists are from Puerto Rico, La Isla del Encanto. So thank you so much. Right. No, I just wanted to no, they are the Hispanics. I just wanted to share my personal experience because you remind me of something. When I arrived here at the United States 37 years ago, in New York, the first people that I worked with, and yeah, I was, but it was Puerto Ricans, and I found them to be really warm and generous. And you have remind me of all the Puerto Ricans that I met. So thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for sharing with us with your knowledge and your experience. Now we're going to take some questions, all right? And I'm going to start. We have already a question from online, and I want to take questions here from the audience. But I want to start with a question for you, Eric, and it's how can you join or help Raíces Cyber?
Yes, certainly. If you want to join or be part of our community, reach out to us on the website. There are areas where you can join, create a chapter. I've been trying to get this guy to start a Montgomery College chapter for Raíces. So you'll have that there. But I will get you guys all the resources so that you can join our Discord. It's free. Join the community. And if you want to become a member, there is a member page on the website. I think it's only like $5 a month or something like that. So you can join. There's many resources. And we're an open community. So come be part of this community. Follow us on LinkedIn. That's another area where we actually put a lot of the information. Okay.
Thank you, Eric. And I think that, Anthony, if you want to start with the question that we have from online. Thank you.
Sure. We have 3 questions here in a row from one individual, so I will give you the context here. Questions for Eric and Lori, though I'm sure, Carlos, you can also speak to these if you'd like. I'm Taj Thomas, president of Lion Solutions, and it's great to hear about your mention of representation and being accessible in person to your community. I'm advocating for similar in Montgomery County as a Black American small business owner. As you're aware, those 2025 national statistics are very similar to our numbers for the Black community. Men/women are very similar/same as the Hispanic/Latino community. The first question, how are your outreach initiatives across the Montgomery County public school system?
At this time, zero. We have not found a champion in the Montgomery County area to be able to get into that school district. Now, we do have, as part of our foundation, the Raíces Cyber Youth Corps program, which is a program for high schools. It's a full year curriculum that schools can join into. We also have the boot camps. We just finished 3 boot camps in Puerto Rico. We trained over 100 students down there over the summer. But we have the Raíces Cyber Youth Corps, which, by the way, Lori is the director of Raíces Cyber Youth Corps. So if you can help us get into these different schools, I would be more than happy.
Oh, that the same question? Yeah. So
If you'd like to.
yeah, absolutely. Piggybacking on what he said, we still the Maryland basically operation is starting out. So feel free to contact us. We're more than willing. Would love to connect and get into the Montgomery County District. Totally understand what he's saying about representation. Bringing that to your community. I'm talking out here also in general, right? If you have a school like near your community that we want to bring us, it's a great also way to say, hi, I am involved in this community. These are resources that I have access to, right? You can also stand out. But yeah, just reach out to us. We'd be happy to connect.
Another thing that I want to say to the gentleman, Lyons, right? You said?
Taj Thomas, president of Lion Solutions.
Okay. So the other part is that Raíces, it takes a village to do what we're doing. It takes a village across the way. So Raíces Cyber is a proud partner of a lot of minority organizations, such as Blacks in Cyber, WISIS, the Women's Society of Cyber Jitsu, Black Girls Hack, Girl Security, Share the Mic in Cyber. So as you see, my belief and what I impart to everybody in our foundation is it takes a village, and we're all underserved and underrepresented. So,
all right, the second question, how are you sharing with your learners that IT/cyber has an unmentioned culture of self-discipline, self-motivation, patience, persistence/perseverance that must also be woven into your DNA?
that's a great question. And I've got a direct answer for that, because as part of all our classes, we don't just focus on the technical skills. We don't focus on what you see and this is not in any way, but Sec Plus or A Plus or CISSP and stuff. It's very domain driven, right? We aim to have a good mix of the soft skills that you need in the field of cybersecurity with the technical skills. So, one of the things that we're missing in this field is that soft skills. How we've talked about it all night. How do we communicate between each other with our IT partners, with our leaders, with our business units, with our developers, and all of that requires a set of soft skills. And we work into every single one of our programs that soft skill component.
Anybody else?
In the case, I can speak to the youth groups that when we do CTFs, and one of the things, speaking to what he said, catch the flag. When you're in cybersecurity, documentation, contests, and data is key. That's gold. That is what's going to get processed and transferred knowledge through all the teams, right? So how we're working with that is we're including kind of like a forensics documents in all the CTFs. So we create teams on those too. So they take different roles in their teams to figure out the puzzles and things to create that community and communication.
The last question from Taj Thomas is, because imposter syndrome plays a key setback in the Black community, wondering how do you motivate your learners and community?
Okay. All right. I want everybody in the room right here to lift your hands if you've ever felt imposter syndrome. Okay? Everybody feels imposter syndrome. So as we talk to the different communities, as we talk to our youth, we tell them that, okay? It is okay. It is okay to feel imposter syndrome. As a minority of all types, Black, brown, Asian, you name it, all the minorities, okay? We always feel somewhat that more of that imposter syndrome. Notice I'm trying to be very politically correct here. But we feel that. We feel that in our bones. We go into a room and we either have to be super boisterous, which doesn't work for us, or we kind of sit back and wait and read the room and stuff and things like that. We need to keep on working, knowing that we're always going to feel, that imposter syndrome. I told you guys earlier, I said, my father told me, I only know that I know nothing. And I go into every room knowing that somebody in this room knows a heck of a lot more about some topic than me, because I don't know it all, even though these guys always tell me that I do. But we need to keep that healthy feeling of imposter syndrome, but we need to push through it. We need to push through it, put ourselves out, try a little bit, try a little bit more, try a little bit more. And one day you're going to have that feeling in you that, hey, this is my area. I know this area.
So what I would say, and I mean, you can probably find a lot of content around there, is yes, there's always someone is going to know more, but work from your perspective, try to be that 1% better as you go through it, right? Like if I can spare 15 minutes to read a white paper or 30 seconds to do like a micro training, at least every couple of weeks or something, I know more than I knew 2 weeks ago, right? And everything else builds on that. Like for example, in my case, I basically jump into the water into product security, and it's a huge, vast area. And as we do analysis and security evaluations on different domains, sometimes I have to do a LinkedIn learning the night before just to ramp up to have a conversation the next day so I can do deeper dives, right? And that's what it takes. Sometimes you need to mix the theory with the practice, and by doing it in short spans, that helps a lot. And in my case, if you cannot do it on the weeknights, then I need to block a few hours on the weekend, and I have my schedule that okay, I need to block these 2 hours to do deep dive on X topic this week, and so forth. And little by little, you chime in and chip in. But yeah, the imposter syndrome is always going to be there.
I think one of the things that has helped me with this imposter syndrome, which I at fault have it a lot, not because it also because I'm in a technical world, not being a technical person. I'm selling to CISOs. They know I like titles are very intimidating sometimes. And depending on what part of your country to are talking to, being a Spanish woman too, kind of like builds on that. And what I found helpful is actually talking to each other, because you're gonna find out that the CISO doesn't know everything. There's a reason why he's talking to you. If you become that subject matter expert, you don't have to be an expert in everything. But again, finding the gap where, okay, well, there is this person and nobody wants to talk to him. Well, why? Oh, he's a little bit frustrated. Well, why? Keep asking why. Keep going down to the why. Why? Be that kid. Why? Why? What? How? Come? Be obnoxiously curious, because then you are actually going to become the SME. And while you're maybe doing other tasks, then you talk to that other person, that person will teach you. So transfer of information and knowledge, I guess, is how I've been able to motivate myself to like get away from that. If not giving it, getting it, giving it.
And she made a very, very good point. We as kids, we're all why? What happened to us? Why don't we keep that curiosity? Because we get told what? Sit down, shut up, right? We get told sit down, shut up. And we get told all that in the minority groups. Yeah. You know, chancla, all right? Chancla, right? We get the slipper, right? Got a flashback right here. But we lose that, right? Ask the questions. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Okay.
Thank you so much. Now we have time for a couple of questions from the audience. Anybody here has a question? Okay, the young lady here.
Hi. So I was wondering, like, if we were to join the races, I was wondering, what are the commitment or like expectations that you have for your mentees? Because I know that sometimes it varies and it's different. So I was just hoping to see kind of like what are the expectations for that.
Thank you. Who wants to take that? All right.
So it all depends on your mentor, right? What the expectations that you have. It's not when you have a mentor, it's your time. It is your time. It is what you want to do. So you ask about the expectations of a mentor to a mentee. Should be the other way. You should be answering it the other way around. What are your expectations? What do you want to gain from talking to this person? What do you want to gain from that relationship with a mentor? So when you hear people saying, what are the expectations? He wants to do it 3 times a week, 4 times a week. No, that's up to you. That's up to you. You tell that mentor, listen, I need help with this. Help me get from point A to point B. And I only have this time, right? You tell that mentor, if you and your mentor are solid in there, that's a good mentor-mentee relationship. And if the mentor doesn't learn anything from you, then that's also wrong. It's a two-way street.
Thank you, Eric. Looks like that we have another question online. Anthony?
Yes, our director, Kimberly Blockman-Khan, has a question for Lori. Can you share more about your experience as a Latina in cyber? What 1 to 2 tips do you have for women in tech?
Story. Wow. So when I started at Tenable, there was like on the SCR team, from the female perspective, there was only 2. It was myself and Brandy, a friend of mine. And also age comes into this, right? Being in cybersecurity, because I remember we were in one of the cohorts, and one of the ladies there, she's from Mexico and she's older and she's having a hard time pivoting, right? So that goes along being a female in Mexico in cybersecurity, and also being plus 40. So in that case, my best advice is be ballsy, honestly. Step in, and one time I got told that I use my hands too much, and that's how I express myself. Unfortunately, it was in a QBR where I wasn't doing very well. So they thought I was probably losing it, but I know I was actually trying to tell the business, we need investment here. You put me here for my knowledge. Why are you giving me what you need, right? So instead of that, maybe just find your tech to coping, but still be ballsy and still what you need to say. Because with being a female in cybersecurity, with being the age that we are, even if you don't have it in the field itself, there's a lot of transferable skills. There's a lot of transferable knowledge, because when you really come to think about it, is on and off. Does it connect? No. There's a lot of rational thinking that seems to be missing. So as a Latina in cyber, my best thing would be ballsy, be selfish, And yes, you still use your voice. Find community. Community will get us through. I cannot say this enough recently. Community will get us through. Yeah.
And one thing from what she said on the transferable skills, check out the Ignite Hub YouTube page. Great content. They have that presentation twice over the last 6 months. So check out the content. Transferable skills are essential. Everything that you do today, a lot of the things that you do, you can use it somewhere else.
Thank you so much, Carlos. So much appreciated. Anybody else? We have time for one more question. Anybody here has any? Okay.
You guys mentioned something about attending conferences. Do you have like a place where to find those? Because sometimes they're kind of expensive.
All right.
Yeah, that's a great question. Conferences can cost a pretty penny. Okay. Here's one hint for you. Most nonprofits give scholarships to go to conferences. Being part of for the community, you will get those conferences. You will get those different financial help, right? Schools give scholarships to go to different conferences. Okay. There are conferences like B-Sides Nova next what is it next Friday, okay, that cost only, what is it, $25?
It's 60.
So, 60, okay, 60.
Volunteer a lot of times, free ticket. And all
Yeah.
you have to do is like work registration.
So remember how we said volunteering? Volunteer pays off, right? If you volunteer for one of the bigger conferences, you can go for free. Okay, you only have, I think you got to pay your ticket there, but other than that, they cover the conference costs. So, but there are other conferences, like I said, the local B-Sides that can be. There's B-Sides Baltimore, there's B-Sides Nova, there's, do we have B-Sides DC yet? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. So you've got B-Sides Philadelphia, B-Sides Hagerstown. No, sorry, not Hagerstown, Harrisburg. Thank you. So you've got local conferences around here that don't cost that much. Yeah. Okay. Go to those conferences. Sometimes we also say, and this is something you will learn if you start going, you may not be able to pay for that $600 conference, but there's LobbyCon. Do you know what LobbyCon is? You don't go in, you stay in the lobby and you meet people. Okay. It's a very valid strategy. Okay. You go, you sit in the lobby, you meet a lot of people and you get that information. It's called LobbyCon. Look it up, you know? It's like tailgating for conferences, right? So there are a lot of things like that you can do to go to these things, get those scholarships, look for. Right now, we are in partnership. I wish that we would have done this a couple months ago, because we last night just selected 5 people for a full conference and travel and hotel to Sentinel One's OneCon in Vegas. And we did that. Okay. So once in a while, when we get the money. Okay. Yes. But yes, we do. Okay.
I just want to share that Montgomery College Employment Services offers also job fairs and opportunities that you can have one-on-one with employers. So last week we hosted a cyber tech event, job fair. So check our Employment Services Montgomery College website, because we can have that opportunity that you can practice and brand yourself. Branding is a key, asking the right questions, coming with intention. You can have those opportunities at Montgomery College.
Thank you, Yanira.
We also had a branding webinar. We have webinars once a month, Zoom ones, that you can go with people in the industry that are recruiters, how to do your resume, how to all those different soft skills, as we mentioned, you can see it's all in our website as well. Okay.
One thing that I also wanted to mention is because the area that we are here in the DMV, there's a lot of security events in this area that are either 1 or 2 day events. Sometimes there's a fee. Sometimes I volunteer with Raices and I get to volunteer, connect with people, and then I see a couple of presentations. So that's actually how I met Anthony. Like we actually volunteer a military cyber conference where we're trying to recruit Hispanos. Uh, so yeah, and then those opportunities are out there, right? Some of them are cheaper, or
He
or
just volunteers for the free tickets.
well, that and the networking too. The networking is very important to me too. So yeah.
Thank you, Carlos. I think we can squeeze one more question if anybody has any questions. Okay.
How difficult is it for someone 40 plus to break into the field? Is it more difficult than the youth? Sales.
So, all right.
Mira estos viejo aquí. Okay. No, seriously. No, it's not. We talked about transferable skills, right? Listen, don't discount those, right? You have a lifetime of experience doing other things that transfer into cyber, that you can just brand it a little different. And if you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're in teaching, we have a lot of teachers in the field of cybersecurity. Why? Because we need them. Okay. So take that. The other part is, I will tell you in general, cybersecurity is not one of those fields where you being older is bad. Okay. Do you know what they call me? They called me a graybeard. Okay. I'm a graybeard in the field of cybersecurity. Cyber Papa is my moniker if you've seen me on, but
Google it.
Google it. But no, like in Lord of the Rings, I'm one of the Whitebeards, right? That's a term of endearment in the field, right? It's somebody who's been there. So in this field of cybersecurity, it's not that hard for somebody that started in 30, 40, even 50s that get in there. Okay. In the field, and for the younger ones, I will tell you the magic key: experience. Experience. If you think you're going to come out of here with a degree and land your first job, you may, but it's very far and few between, especially the way the market is right now. I can tell you right now, the whole joke of, you have to have a doctorate degree and 15 years to apply for an entry-level job. There are companies that still look at it like that here in the DC area. Okay. They're looking for a unicorn. Okay. But in general, if you find what you want to do and you have that experiential learning and you have the educational learning, you should have no problem.
So one thing I will add, there's a lot of content podcasts out there. You can Google it. If you have a domain expertise in something, every single domain, every industry needs security, privacy, regardless of where they are or where they operate in the planet. Every industry, every company, every domain needs security and privacy. If you have domain expertise, for example, in sales, there's transferable skills out there that you can use. When you're in sales, you need to find what the requirements are and how I can sell this. Distilling the requirements to translate that to technical and non-technical people, that's a skill that we need in cyber. We need that in privacy. We need that across the, governance, compliance. So yeah, there's a lot of transferable skills. So it goes back to the YouTube content you guys have there.
Thanks again, Carlos, and thank you, everybody. Please let's give another round of applause to our guest speakers and our moderator here. So before we depart, a couple of things. First of all, we would like to thank Verizon for sponsoring this series, and want to make clear that first of all of our guest speakers and our moderator, they are volunteers. They came here, they have volunteered their knowledge, their time. Some of them came from far away. So they have not been compensated. And this is the reason why we just want to offer them just a little token of our appreciation. It's just some, yes. Yeah. No, it's just some Ignite Hub swag, but no, thank you for being here. All right. So anyways, Verizon sponsors this series. They paid for the meal that we enjoyed for the people that were here in person prior to that. So thanks Verizon for that. Please check. We have a lot of things coming up. And I think that I'm going to just pass it on to Kimberly before we close. But before we close, one thing that I'm going to ask everybody here in person and also the people in line, please look at this QR code and complete this event survey. I think Anthony put the link on the chat for the people that join us via Zoom. We do take a look at this and please give us your impressions. What did you like about this event? What did you like about your speakers? We will be sharing the results of this survey with them. By the way, this event is being recorded. It will be posted in the Ignite Hub's YouTube channel in a day or two. Everybody that registered to this event, regardless of they attended or not, will receive an email with a link of that. And we will share the results of this survey with you guys. Thank you so much again for being here tonight. And I'm going to let our director close it for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Muchas gracias to all of you for coming, sharing your wisdom, bringing your authentic self to this event. This is what makes our community rich here in Montgomery County, at the college, and beyond. And I'm just so grateful that you were able to take the time out to spend your time here today. Thank you to our guests. I hear it's a full house there, so that's amazing and exciting that we're able to bring content and information that's relevant for you to come out. Time is our most valuable resource that we have, and the fact that you chose to be with us tonight makes a difference, and it tells us that you're interested and committed to that. So thank you. I will make one last plug. Yes, we have lots of activities coming up because we were talking about transferable skills, and in light of a lot of the layoffs that are happening, especially in tech, we are offering a 4-part series, navigating the DMV job market here, specifically focused on tech. So I'm sure Anthony can bring the flyer up. We'll put it in the chat for online. Join us. You will walk away with a clear plan of your job strategy, interviews, networking. You'll walk away, and headshots and perfect attendance can make, we'll have a drawing of names to be eligible for one-on-one coaching with the instructor whose career has been helping individuals in tech when they're laid off, getting them their next job. So just want to plug that as well. So with that, thank you again. Thank you, Anthony. Jonathan Corrales, another Latino helping us out here. He's going to present this 4-part series. So thank you. Have a great night and be safe.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. We got one more question.
So I'm a MC alumni and a University of Maryland alumni. And you guys kind of touched base on this as far as like experience over education. But my question is going to be, right now I'm thinking about getting a master's in cybersecurity. So just wanted to hear any advice about pursuing that, or if not, just taking additional courses and certifications. Yeah, thank you.
Very good question. Who wants to take it?
Take a stab first.
Okay, so did you enjoy accounting?
Really break into it.
Okay, so I would say lean on that domain expertise, because the cyber forensics side, there's even a financial crime side that there's like a whole industry. Like right now you're a perfect candidate with a master's in cyber and your background. She's potentially pursuing it, but there are potentially even summer internship opportunities that you can explore, like even by being registered on the program itself. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of content out there, but leverage your domain expertise as well. If you still enjoy it, if you're trying to pivot out of it, then obviously that's another conversation.
Yeah, that's right. So let me ask you the question. Are you trying to get out of accounting?
No, so right now my role is it's what's it called, risk consultant, and so I'm being given the opportunity to do some IT processes, controls, like IT audit. But that's where my imposter syndrome comes in because I really don't know much about it, and so I'm getting a little bit of experience, but want to get that.
It's like 90% transferable skill there.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. So listen, one of the things that I will tell you is what you're doing of the process, we call that the field that, again, another field is governance, risk, and compliance, right? Within the governance, risk, and compliance, there's a bunch of other jobs right there, right? There's process compliance, there's accounting compliance, there's forensic accounting compliance, there's all these different things that you have, financial crimes, that require that mind of an accountant.
At least for federal agencies, I know that I can hire someone like you with a master's.
FBI has
with the master to have.
Or even.
Masters is a nice to have. Because there's so many or so few people in those career fields, there's that experience, measuring that they can either train you, or if you bring in some of that experience already with the degree that you have, you can enter the field. There are smaller classes you can take, some smaller certifications that you can take. If you really want your master's, what am I not to tell you not to go for it? But if you don't, then there are courses that can mold you into those careers with your existing education.
So that's something I need to put on the table. If you're willing to pursue that degree, if you're willing to pursue the degree, the employer can pay for it too. So I'll be honest. Verizon helped to pay for my master's, and I appreciate it very much, and my wife too. And my other employee finished paying the master's when I transitioned out of Verizon. But the point is that, if you're willing to pursue it, that's great. But at this point in time, because you have some experience, you don't have to finance it yourself just by yourself. So that's something to explore.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm another example. I'm going to college to pay for my master in cybersecurity and also my preparation for my CISSP. So I'm a security people. So yeah, let's find that out. But I think that, like they say, transferable skills here, and you are already an SME in your field. What you need to learn is the technical piece, and then now you become really, really like a niche knowledge there. So yeah, thank you so much. So let's stop the recording, and thank you so much again for being here tonight. We stop the recording. Okay, cool. I just wanted to